be like a ribbon. Because it's a memorial, so you gotta like give it a memorial posture.
Did we bring that thing that we wanted to bring for Chairman Chaka? That for me?
No, we're gonna have shit.
Okay.
Can I suggest something?
Yes.
You don't want to have all these aesthetics and then cover it up with a human body.
Right
I
on.
would put it right here.
Thank you.
Okay?
Can
You don't
see
want to,
that?
because you don't want to disrespect the artwork.
I knew
Right.
So
Ellis, whenever you give us the cue, I think Hope is going to introduce the speakers. You know what I mean? And then we're gonna take it from there. Casey's supposed to be called. Ooh, look at all the people! My God!
somebody in here?
Woo! More power to the people. Talking about this real love.
Rocket when you're ready.
Yeah, you can turn it on now, though. Just so yeah.
The stream is on.
Oh.
All right, 1 second. Can they hear us?
Not
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Are they okay?
Hello, everyone, comrades, loved ones of Tom Watts. We're about to start the memorial with our speakers. Our speakers are going to be Chairman Shaka Zulu, Carlito Rovira, Chairman Jake Hansbury, and Mike Scheidler. I think if he is present on the Zoom, please let us know if you'd still like to speak. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day, and all power to the people and pay their love. Give us about 2 minutes and we will have Chairman Chaka. All power to the people.
All power to the people, brothers and sisters. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
All power to the people. brothers.
All power to the people.
So today we're here to honor someone that have played an important role in the life of this revolutionary organization. Someone that inspired us to reach for freedom. Not the kind of freedom associated with academic institutions or the kind of freedom that the enemy power structure says is necessary for us. But today we're honoring Comrade Tom Watts for his long contribution to this revolutionary struggle. What can I say about Tom Watts that is not already known publicly? Well, let me say that this organization, the New African Black Panther Party, the United Panther Movement, and the comrades that are assembled today around the world listening to us, we would not know one another if it was not for Comrade Tom Watts. We would not be assembled together in a revolutionary way if it was not for Comrade Tom Watts. Let me say, brothers and sisters, all around the world, and those who are within this space right here, Comrade Tom Watts was a committed and dedicated revolutionary. Just think about that. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
We could do better than that. All power to the people.
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 2005. I was in a prison cell. Comrade Rashid is still in the prison cell. Comrade Casey is still in the prison cell. We came together not because we wanted to find any kind of organization. We came together because we wanted to confront the poor housing, the miseducation, the police brutality that is rampant in our community. We came together because there was a direct and intentional assault on revolutionary leadership in our communities by propping up and putting forward Black misleaders, Latino misleaders, and poor white misleaders who took the working class, the Black poor urban areas, the barrios, and marshaled our forces into the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. So Tom said, no, that's not what we want to do. We want to create an organization that galvanize, mobilize, and organize those cats at the bottom of the production system. Those cats that are the floor mats of the world. The moms and pops that live temporarily from paycheck to paycheck. The cats in the prison cell that don't even recognize that they are victims of a huge injustice. What about the sisters on the street that prostitute themselves? We had to find a way to address that. Not in a mean-spirited way, but in a way that lift up the morale of the brother and sister that are cut off from the academic, economic, and political structures of this enemy power structure. All of us, in some fashion, are cut off from the benefits of Americanism. All of us are. And Tom said to us, you don't have to go to Harvard. You don't have to go to Yale. You don't even have to be born into a revolutionary family to find a way to contribute to the overthrow of capitalism and imperialism. So the prison cell became a battleground. The pen became a sword. And the ideas became a material force where they went from prison to prison. Tom put out thousands of newsletters, spent thousands of dollars, 3 heart attacks. I was in prison 20 years. 20 years. So I know what Tom went through. This ain't hyperbole. This ain't trying to embellish his character. Tom was an imperfect man, like most of us are imperfect. None of us will be perfect. What is perfect under a capitalism imperialist system when everything is unequal? What is perfect? Tom was not perfect, but Tom was committed. And that's the difference between an armchair revolutionary and a practitioner of revolutionary politics. Let me tell y'all, brothers and sisters, Tom would travel thousands of miles, thousands, to go see prisoners. When Russell Maroon Schultz was a political prisoner, he died right after they released him from prison about 2 or 3 years ago. It was Tom that was in contact with Russell Maroon Schultz for years. Tom would trek to Gradeford prison or any other maximum security prison where they held Umar Abu-Jamal and Russell Maroon Schultz. They worked together, and Tom would go see them. He didn't broadcast that. Tom would go out of his way to give a nickel and dime to someone that really needed it. That man sent not only his life force, which was all of the things that he earned over his lifetime. He put all that stuff into revolution. All of that stuff. Since 13 years old. How many people you know? Since 13 years old, all the way up to 75, committed to the revolutionary freedom of oppressed people around the world. You and I, we can't name that many. But probably if we were a Cornel West or a Michael Eric Dyson or some other big name celebrity, we could name 1,000 people that talk revolution but walk liberalism. But Tom wasn't one of those cats. He put his money, his muscle where his words were, and he backed it up. And so today, it's a sad day But like Kwame Ture said, Stokely Carmichael, we should not mourn, we should organize. We should not mourn, we should organize. When we leave here today, whether we go into California, to Boston, to New York, or Newark, we should be inspired to create base areas of political, social, and cultural power by getting to the community and addressing their immediate needs. Don't pay attention to the noise behind us. And let me address another aspect that is very important. That is, you can attack Tom. You can attack his skin color. You could call him all kind of names. But you can't question his commitment to Black people and poor people's revolutionary struggle. You question John Brown? 5 kids he gave to the struggle against slavery in the 1850s. 1859, he was captured. John Brown, a white guy who stood up and said, I am going to put all of my energy into overturning the slave system. And 5 of his kids were murdered in the process. But you get folks today say, oh, well, so what? He was a white guy. But the question is not what my phenotype looked like. The question is, did I contribute anything meaningful to the eradication of the filth, poverty, racism, and the exploitation of oppressed people around the world? And if they contributed, I don't give a goddamn how they look. You know, we here celebrating time, but let me show brothers and sisters, this is George Jackson. This is who Tom represented and embodied. And George Jackson said, if you hate just one fascist, one imperialist, one capitalist, you are a comrade of mine. You are a brother of mine. So go ahead. Talk about Tom's skin color. Talk about me being in prison and not having fancy words. Talk about my comrades being a ragtag bunch. But one thing you can't question is that we have been committed on this ground since 2019, empowering the masses everywhere that we went. It's not about skin color. It's about a class struggle. And there are poor people in this society that Tom wanted us to represent. And history dictated that we represent because we are not a part of the rich class. Jeff Bezos ain't your friend or comrade. Do you go out with the owner of Amazon for dinner? No, right? You don't eat at his table, do you? You eat at my table. You eat at that comrade's table. Those are your brothers and sisters. Those who are poor, exploited, downtrodden. Those who are walked on like a floor mat around the world are your brothers and sisters. Let them be in Latin America. That's your brother and sister. Let them be in the Caribbean. That's your brother and sister. Let them be in Africa. That's your brother and sister. In Europe and Asia, everywhere that oppressed people are marshaling their energies to be free, we should stand up and say we support them. So come on, attack us. But don't lie. Don't besmirch. Don't sully up the character of someone that died. You may disagree. You may disagree with Huey P. Newton. You may disagree with Assata Shakur. Or you may disagree with some other intellectual. But it should never come down to the point where I'm calling you names, where I'm calling you a bum, a rapist, a Nazi. Think about a man who has soldiered in the cave like Plato, an allegory where he has soldiered in this cave for so long looking for cracks so he could get the knowledge out to the people and to be castigated. Aspersions such as you are a Nazi. so-called revolutionaries, black, white, and Asian, and indigenous. When you attack another revolutionary, instantly you give leverage to the enemy power structure, because he is saying there's division. Let's play on that division. Let's play the black revolutionary against the white revolutionary. Let's play the white revolutionary against the indigenous revolutionary. And this is how we can keep the movement on the left divided. Think about that. They call me a drug dealer. Not even one time have I sold one piece of drugs. They call me a robber. This is the stuff that people are putting on social media. I'm not out there hurting our brothers and sisters. I'm not stealing. I'm not robbing. I'm not selling drugs. Why are you so envious and so jealous of what we're doing when you can create your own organ, your own vehicle, go into the community? There's massive exploitation. There's massive poverty. The police just murdered 1,173 people. That's more than they killed last year. Go out there and deal with that. But you want to sit on social media, and take 55 years of revolutionary integrity that Tom exhibited and dirty it up because you can't get your way. So yeah, this is a memorial to Tom, but it's also a statement to our enemies that we ain't going nowhere. We're growing. We're going to keep growing. We're going to develop with integrity. And those who talk against us, we're going to treat their ignorance as a load upon their back and endeavor to remove it. I don't have to call you a name. When you're a revolutionary, you're united by a higher supreme ideal. You're not together because you're Christians. You're not together because you're elks or because you like to have a deer hunting at the end of the week. You're together because you have decided to tie your life fortunes to the overthrow of a white supremacist enemy power structure. And that requires a lot of labor and love because you're going to be attacked. You're going to have your own brothers and sisters call you all kind of negative names. But here's the thing. The revolutionary movement wasn't built overnight. And name calling will certainly tear it down. But we got to carry ourselves, like Tom always said, with respect, with dignity, and with the utmost knowledge that we are the embodiment of revolutionaries past, present, and future. And we are a beacon on the hill. We stand as a light to those who are ignorant in the valley. And we say to them, this is the direction. Not towards the Democratic Party, not towards the Republican Party, not even a third way ticket. We don't want it. We want the people's ticket, which is a revolutionary ticket. We want to organize grassroots. Tom could have been a professor at Harvard. He could have been a professor at Yale. I'm telling you, go back and read Tom's writings. Tom could have been a politician of the astute kind, of the Joe Biden kind, if he decided to. That's how intelligent this man was. But he took all of that knowledge, all of that information, all of that science, he accumulated through trial and error and said, this is the way forward. The same way Vladimir Lenin said, this is the way forward. The same way Mao Zedong said it. The same way Fred Hampton said it. And so did Huey P. Newton. So no, this ain't no pity party. We ain't here to cry tears. We here to stand as revolutionaries, knowing this, taking this with us. As long as we remain moral, upright, and dignified, they cannot strip our humanity from us. So let them attack us. Let them call us all kind of names. The ultimate deciding question will be in the field. Will be in the field. And when the people look, they're going to say, huh? I see a hospital here. I see a food program here. I see a clothing program here. I see a karate program to teach self-defense to our babies and women here. And I look on the other side, I see nothing but computer gangsters, nothing but YouTube channels, castigating, disrespecting. I don't see anything that is a material force in the community to say this person is a revolutionary. Show me something. And then we can say, let's sit down like Malcolm X said, as equals and work this thing out. But if you're just giving me lip service and you're condemning revolutionaries all over the world, why should we sit down with you? Why should we even dignify anything that you say? So the question is, are we going to remain true to what Tom said is the correct role, which is the revolutionary role? Or are we going to deviate and allow these attacks against not just Tom, but the whole organization to weaken our morale? Or are we going to do what Lenin said? We're going to break off from the Mensheviks. We're going to break off from the liberals. We're going to break off from the counter-revolutionaries. We're going to break off from those individuals that are toxic, destructive, and holding back the wheels of justice in this revolutionary movement. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to stay on the right track. We're going to love as much as we can, but we're also going to defend ourselves. And that's very important, brothers and sisters. When we say defend, we means we're going to push back against these attacks coming from so-called revolutionaries and from the enemy power structure. This reminds me, and I'm going to stop right here because I could be here for 6 hours like Fidel Castro. I could talk pretty long, but I'm going to stop here and allow someone else to come. I remember there was this cat in Africa, and I want to tell this little story. So in the early 70s in Mozambique, you had the Mozambican Popular Liberation Front, and they were fighting to overthrow not just the Portuguese domination, but also South African domination under apartheid. And this cat named Jonas Savimbi was a part of the popular, part of the Angolan Popular Liberation Front. I said Mozambique, but Angola. So he wanted to be a co-leader in the Angolan liberation movement. And when they said, well, brother, we can appoint you, we can't do that. You have to get in the field. You have to show us through practice you want to be pointed to a chairman spot. And guess what this guy did, Jonas Savimbi? He called the CIA up. He said, listen, man, I don't like this Marxist, communist stuff. And the CIA said, okay, we got you on the payroll. He called up the South African apartheid state. They said, oh, don't worry about it. We got you on the payroll. And Jonas Savimbi, a black man, because he couldn't get his way, took up guns against his own brothers and sisters, shot down thousands of revolutionaries for U.S. imperialism. The CIA, FBI, South African apartheid, British imperialists, French imperialists. This guy took up arms. Jonas Savimbi. He was a black guy. And that's what we have budding right now in the so-called revolutionary community in America, especially the black revolutionary community. Everybody want to be a cheer person. Everybody want to have leadership roles, but nobody want to get out there selling bean pies. Nobody want to sell newspapers. Nobody want to stand on the corner and talk to the brother and sister who just got off of work 12 hours and explain what alienation is or what exploitation is to that worker. But they want to be a chief. I'm a captain of this. I runs this right here. This is all my terrain. Well, what about the people? Oh, they under my domination. Can I speak to the people? Not unless I say so. This is the kind of mentality that we had in the bourgeois revolutionary movement, and we're entertaining this nonsense. We're giving them platforms. We're allowing them to speak when they ain't got nothing in their pedigree to substantiate that. Nothing. But I don't want to get off into a tangent, but let me say, this is a wonderful opportunity. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Power to the people.
All power to the
All power
people.
to the people.
All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Comrade Tom Watts, and to salute his family who had to put up with his stubbornness, especially his sisters. You know, they all wanted summertime Tom. But Tom was so committed to revolution that he said it's not a biological thing, it's a sociological thing. You know? And I want to thank their family. They have been warm to us. They have loved on us. They have opened up their doors to us. They have embraced us the same way that Tom has embraced us. So I want to thank the Watts family. And I want to thank all of the comrades around the country and the comrades in Australia that created the Australian Panther Party. I want to thank you too, comrade, for sending us those videos of the conversations over the years that you had with Tom. We definitely appreciate the Australian Panther Party and want to work more closely with y'all comrades. But on behalf of the whole Panther Revolution, we want to thank everybody for the support, the love, and I'm getting a little emotional, and I'm trying not to, but I'm going to end it here. Thank you, brothers and sisters. All power to the people.
All power to the people. All power to the people.
All power.
It's going to be Carlito Rovira.
How's everybody doing?
All right.
How's everybody doing? This is not a
Doing well.
Good
to see you, comrade. Oh, great.
I'm stressing that point for a number of reasons, but one importantly is that we're on the winning side of history. That's right. And that's something that we have to always remember, because we live in a spirit-shattering culture, and we have to always remind each other that there's only one direction of history, and that's forward. Although the rulers always implicitly and explicitly tell us that everything is stagnant, that everything is reason to be depressed. And if that were to be the case, African Americans today would not have been able to smash the system of chattel slavery.
All power.
If it wasn't for that idea, Cuba would continue being under the rule of
All
U.S.
power.
imperialism. There would not be an anti-colonial struggle in Puerto Rico, my home.
All power.
There were a number of things that in conversations that I had with Tom Watts. I was an original member of the Young Lords, and there was something of that history that even some Young Lords have been able to somehow to forget, and that is that our history as human beings has been one of revolution. This is not something that came up in the 20th century. This is very much part and parcel of what is known as human nature. It's what is being human, and that is an instinct to fight for what is right, an instinct to bring about a better world. That is who we are as human beings. The problem is that if people don't, romanticize and forget about what is revolution, okay? But instead, they mimic and not emulate Okay, because there is a difference.
Mhm.
Okay, many revolutionaries throughout history begin their deviation by mimicking
That's right.
and not emulating the qualities of what a revolutionary is. There was something that Che Guevara said one time that people tended to romanticize, and that is that a revolutionary is one that's guided by the feelings of love.
Mm.
And that is not some hippie, yuppie, fantasy saying. Uh, you have to actually love the idea of human emancipation.
Mhm.
Okay, you have to have compassion for the most downtrodden, and that was a quality that Tom Watt had. Okay, because he would talk about the suffering and what it meant to him, and he would do that by trying to impress upon others that you got to have that passion, because you can intellectualize all of the books of Marx and Lenin and Mao, etc., etc., and it doesn't mean anything if you don't emulate the gut felt sentiment for revolution, for changing the world. You know, one of the things that Karl Marx, the reason why I became a Marxist Leninist, it wasn't only because we studied Marxism in the Young Lords. That's right, we studied Marxism in the Young Lords. Although there's those that like to bury that history.
That's right. That's right. Come on.
He said that it's not enough to witness the processes of capitalism. It's another to change it, to change the world.
That's right.
Because you can observe all you want. We don't want you to be observing. We want you to be doing. Okay? And that is really the defining factor in what makes a revolutionary. I always tell folks, I don't give a shit about form. I care about content.
That's right.
Because you can dress anything up all you want. Bullshit could come very colorful. Okay, it's what you do that is really the defining line of judgment. Okay, and we have contempt for the rulers, not because they talk trash, but because of the suffering that they have inflicted upon human beings for centuries. And that is the basis of our contempt. In the Young Lords, we have rules, okay, and rules of discipline.
That's right.
Aside from our political line known as the 13-point program, just like the Black Panther Party had the 10-point program. Well, we had the 13-point program, but we also had the 25 rules of discipline. And in the 25 rules of discipline, there were certain points like the respect for women, respect for the property of others. Okay, because we used to recruit people who were at one point or another drug addicts, and other kinds of social deviants, and they came into the Young Lords, and we tried to help them transform. In some cases we succeeded, in some cases we don't. We didn't. And the rules of discipline were there to make sure to enforce the line of march of the organization.
That's right. That's right.
Now, we do not have a movement today. Anybody who tells me that we have a movement today, I like to know what brought about that your delusion. Because the movement was destroyed by Operation COINTELPRO.
Come on, brothers, talk about it. Talk about it.
It was destroyed by Operation COINTELPRO, but it had lingering effects. That were still being felt today. The Black Panther Party's persecution by the government is still going on today.
That's right.
Even though many of those brothers and sisters are of age or have passed away. If not, they're still in prison. But the persecution, the political persecution of the Black Panther Party is still in existence today. And it's done in many, many, many forms. And it's done ideologically and politically. Comrade Watts countered what he saw, because anyone who has a true interest in rebuilding a new revolutionary movement, with the understanding that we have to emulate, not mimic, the examples of those in the past, will understand and be able to see how the persecution of those that fought in the 1960s and 70s is still going on today.
That's right.
And there are reasons why. A return to the 1960s is the biggest nightmare in the subconscious
That's right.
of the
That's
ruling
right.
class.
All power to the people.
All power to the people.
All power to the people.
There's a reason for that. The 1960s was not really about flower power. It was not about, women taking off their bras. It was not about, everybody coming out, whoever needed to come out of the closet to come out of the closet. It wasn't about that. What it was about was that the U.S. was experiencing the potential for a socialist revolution. Okay, and there are many historians who have devoted their efforts into distorting the meaning of the 1960s and 70s, whether they be from the right or from the left, because we have many historians that will glorify and romanticize and distort the meaning of the 1960s and write history in a way that's really academic masturbation, other than to inspire the future revolutionaries in this land.
That's right. That's right.
Because if you are a historian and you have accurately marked the various times in U.S. history that it was revolutionary, the Civil War, which many people think distort, even the Civil War is distorted, because it was a revolution that was actually led by Black people.
That's right.
Within
the Civil War. That's right.
The 1930s. How many people know that in Pittsburgh, working class people took over that city with guns? That is not even known by some of the history academic students in some of the leading universities of this country. The 1960s, one of the key reasons why they fear the memories of the 1960s so bad is because for the first time, Black and Latino people were saying, we're communists.
All power to the people.
All
power to the people.
Black people and Latino people were saying, pass me the ammunition.
That's right.
We're going to shoot back.
That's right.
Okay? And those little inkling details, as insignificant as they may sound to some people, because I don't like to talk about history without, becoming inspired and seeing a need to tell it so that it can inspire others.
That's right.
Because if you're not telling history to inspire others, then shut the fuck up. Don't even write about history.
All power to the people.
You're writing about Huckleberry.
Right down.
You might be better with that. Okay? Because history is it's a documentation of the experiences of human beings and the different kinds of human beings. I'm Puerto Rican, okay? I like to brag about the fact that when I was an infant, it was Lolita Lebron that changed my diapers.
All power to the people.
My parents, I also like to brag about the fact that my parents were members of the Nationalist Party of Puerto Rico.
That's right.
And what they were doing as supers of a building in Manhattan was they were raising funds for the Nationalist Party so that the Nationalist Party can handle up.
All power to the
Okay?
people.
So there are many, many examples of black and brown history. And when you get deeper into it, you will find that without those factors, U.S. history would have been bland. Because working class struggles in the United States that were decisive in bringing about some of the most progressive legislation.
That's right.
Were led or were influenced by the Black movement. In New York City, right here, one of the biggest unions in New York City was the ILGWU. They were seamstress in the garment district. And those were mostly Puerto Rican sisters and African American sisters. And when they went on strike, they impacted all of New York City. The Hotel Workers Union, Hotel and Motel Workers Union, when they went on strike, they impacted all of New York City. Okay, businessmen had to go to neighboring cities to stay, and then catch a cab to come into Manhattan. So every struggle in the United States since the dawn of the white supremacist 13 colonies has been impacted by black and brown labor. Okay, the Civil War was the first bite, because when black people started fighting and resisting slavery, the cost of a shirt in Europe went up, went skyrocketing. Okay, because it was enslaved African labor that was providing manufacturing the raw materials for them to work with. So when we talk about liberation, when we talk about the struggles for the national liberation of any people, but especially African Americans, you're talking about something, a phenomenon that has impacted history throughout the world.
That's right.
Throughout the world.
That's right.
Okay, it was at the African American struggle that gave leverage to the struggle against apartheid in South Africa. It was the African American struggle. It was the African American struggle that impacted the struggles in the Caribbean. And I'll give you an example. Marcus Garvey. How many people know that Marcus Garvey traveled to Puerto Rico to meet with our iconic symbol, Pedro Albizu Campos?
That's right.
Okay, and it was because of that. Electricity has positive and negative. Okay, and when that positive and negative does a dance, it can move all kinds of things. Okay, and that's precisely what history does. Okay, when an oppressed people starts identifying with another, okay, that has tremendous impact on the struggle and psychologically against our enemies.
All power to the people.
During the original Rainbow Coalition,
Come on, talk about it.
I traveled. I traveled to Chicago. I traveled to the Southwest, and for the first time, I met a Mexican. Okay, and it was like a beautiful experience. I thought I would never get to meet a Mexican. Okay, meeting other the Black Panthers, and seeing how concerned they were, and the passionate expression of solidarity towards the Puerto Rican struggle, that it gave me strength. It made me feel like, God damn, we're gonna win this shit.
That's right.
Okay, that's what solidarity does. And solidarity is, please do not come to me and start come in solidarity and hug you and a good feeling and all of that bullshit. No, solidarity is when you weaken the enemy from your perspective,
All power
from your position.
That's right. That's
Okay,
right.
because we do not want to be in solidarity with the Palestinian struggle in that way. We do not want to be in solidarity with the Cuban people in that way.
the way we want to express solidarity to those struggles around the world is by overthrowing this bastard right here.
All power to the people.
That is how you do that.
All power to the
Okay?
people.
Because true solidarity is when you get your hands dirty. True solidarity towards any oppressed people is when you legitimize their struggle by confronting the common enemy. You see, and that is the idea that Tom Watts always put out.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
When I started talking to him a lot after he did something that I was not familiar with, and he put out this article that he didn't write, but he was really pushing it, and it was about the African Blood Brotherhood.
Oh, that was his passion. He
Okay.
loved that. Yeah.
How many people here know about the African
All
Blood
power
Brotherhood?
to the people. That's right.
Well, we all know from the history books in school, besides Dick and Jane, they talked about the poor black people were getting lynched by the Klan and being shot by the Klan. But what they don't teach you is how black people were killing Klansmen.
That's right. That's
Okay?
right.
How black people were chasing the motherfuckers down.
All power to the people.
Excuse my French, I don't like to curse, but when I talk about us fighting back, it brings out something in me. And you know, the article that he put out, and the different articulations that he was expressing to me back and forth made me understand who he was. Okay, because for most white leftists to talk about black and Latino people shooting back, for them it's not a sexy thing.
Word.
Okay.
Word.
They prefer those that come across with bourgeois respectability. Okay, which in turn means that you don't promote violence. Okay, but it's not the ones. Our violence was taught to us.
All power to the people.
Okay,
That's right.
we did not originate violence. Taínos in Puerto Rico knew nothing about killing people. The only thing they killed was the meat that they ate, the fish. But yet, in 20 years of the colonization of the Spanish conquerors, they learned how to kill because they were compelled to, and they also watched what the conquistadores were doing to the Taino people. You see, so when they talk about the Panthers were violent, no, that violence did not originate with the Black Panther Party. That was a violence that was inflicted upon black people over the course of centuries. They were only striking back at who was striking black people for decades, for centuries. So when we talk about Tom Watts, it's not so much an individual, because all of us die. All of us die. Every time I have a birthday, I think about that. Okay, I'm 71 now. Okay,
looking good.
But I feel like I'm 20. Because that's what the struggle does to you. Okay, that's what the struggle does to you. And that's the reason why I want to prolong it, and the reason why I do not smoke or drink.
That's right.
That's right. I'm talking to you smokers that I saw before. Because we have when we talk about being revolutionary, it means many things. It means many things. There's conceptions that are tagged on to that topic that we haven't even thought about yet. Because there is no rigidness to the definition of revolutionary. What is revolutionary today may not be what is revolutionary tomorrow.
That's right.
Just like what was revolutionary yesterday is not necessarily what is revolutionary today. Truth also goes through evolution.
That's right.
But what's true yesterday may not be true today. And I say that because
it's important for us to emulate. We emulate the traits of revolutionaries of the past. I try every day, understanding that I am a human being with faults. I try to emulate the positive qualities of heroes of the past. That's why as an artist, I paint the portraits of revolutionaries.
That's right.
You know, and I research their history and everything else, and I try to emulate those traits, the men and women, the heroes that I paint. What I don't do, and what I always encourage people not to do, is mimic, because their world is not in existence anymore. What was revolutionary in their lifetime is not what is revolutionary today. I remember when Fidel Castro and Che Guevara and Camilo and Cienfuegos, everybody wanted to wear a beret and a beard. Okay. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that was only applicable in Cuba in 1959. Okay, they don't even do that shit anymore in Cuba. Okay, you know. So what was applicable in that reality, in that experience, is not what is applicable today. What is applicable, and I would define it by saying that it's absolute. Okay, that all will apply for all humanity. It's respect for your fellow human being.
That's right. That's right.
Respect for women.
That's right.
And respect for their place in political leadership.
All power to the people.
Respect for LGBTQ people.
All power to the people.
Because they've been around even before humanity evolved into existence. That's right. In the animal kingdom, it exists. Okay. You know, so there are many layers of that truth, absolute truth. Okay, that we should always embrace, and it's defined by: are we against oppression? Are we against the persecution of any human being? Are we for the inclusion of all human beings in the revolutionary process?
That's right.
That's the bottom line. And if you're not, then you're not standing on the side of revolution. You're standing on the side of counter-revolution. You know, and unfortunately, and Brother Shaka alluded to this in his salute to Brother Watt. There are those that tend to deviate. Okay, and you know, I have seen them in the 55 years that I've been around in politics. Okay, that is how strong bourgeois ideology is.
Think about that.
It should never be underestimated. The enemies, the oppressors' greatest weapon is not those aircraft carriers or the nuclear bombs that they have or the hollow point bullets that the police have. That's not their greatest weapon. Their greatest weapon is their ideology. The greatest weapon is our control of our minds.
That's right.
Think about that.
That's right.
Because it has been precisely that has stifled our ability to build independent movement, our ability to form disciplined, structured revolutionary organization. It has been that has opened the doors to Operation COINTELPRO. That's right. The FBI had their operation, but it could have their effectiveness could have been stifled and prevented. But we opened up the doors. We opened up the doors with internal bickering. We opened up the doors by weakening ourselves, the internal structure, the internal solidarity of the movement. And when that becomes infringed upon, the internal solidarity of any movement, then it becomes a sign of death.
Yeah.
Okay, and it is a point of history that I say that we better grasp, because or else we're not going to succeed.
Mm.
You know, we or you know, because oppression operates on the division of the on the bottom. That's right. That has happened going back to Spartacus.
Right.
The reason why Spartacus was a pain in the ass of the Roman Empire is because he managed to unite all of the slaves.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and the reason why slavery in this country was smashed was because people were uniting by escaping to join the Union Army and form the black regiments that took the front lines. They became the front lines troops of the Union Army. That's right. It wasn't the white guys. Okay, white guys didn't have a stake in overthrowing the Confederacy. Black people did. Again, the point is that ideology can become either their greatest weapon or their area of vulnerability.
Mm.
And our job is to guarantee that it becomes an area of vulnerability. And that is the role of propaganda. We should never, try to come off like gangster actors. So that's not what the fuck revolution is about. Okay, we can employ elements of the gangsterhood. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but that cannot be the main part of being a revolutionary. We have to always be humble, and we always have to remind ourselves that we don't know everything.
That's right.
Right on.
I'm 71 years old, and I know I don't know everything. I strive to learn, and not just from older people, but from even younger people. We always have to be humble. Okay, humility is one of the principal traits of what a revolutionary is. Okay, there was a time that Fidel Castro was in a meeting and he cut a sister off who was speaking, and she corrected him. She told him, Comrade Fidel, I'm talking. Oh, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He backed up.
Right.
He backed up, because he knew he was wrong and he was criticized.
That's right.
You have to employ the traits of humility, because that becomes your weapon. There was a reason why the NYPD didn't fuck with young lords. And it wasn't just because they were intimidated by the Purple Beret, or that we were going to clock them upside the head when they came to it. It was because we had the respect and love of the people.
That's right. That's right.
Okay? There was a reason why when the Black Panther Party was smashed, that it caused demoralization everywhere in the Black community. And that was because the Black Panther Party had earned the love and respect of the Black population in this country. And that's also the reason why they became a threat. The greatest threat in the United States, as J. Edgar Hoover put it. But it was because they were humble. It was because they were not only serviceable, but because they expressed respect for the people.
That's right.
And you cannot say you are a revolutionary if you don't have respect for the people.
That's right.
Because the people eventually will let you know, either through words or gas.
All power to the people.
On that note, I'd like to thank Sister Zen, who's in Arizona. I'm jealous.
That's right, Sister Zen.
Thanks to her and Sister Hope. Where are you? Okay, I can't see your face. For and Shaka and Brother Shaka for encouraging me to be here today. I was contemplating the idea of not showing up because I saw all that snow outside. But then Sister Hope said, if the snow is too much for you, because the roads are slippery, blah, 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 bang. I say, ain't this some shit? She's giving me the senior citizen talk. So I say, no. I got to show these youngsters I'm still gangster.
Right on, all power to the people.
I told my wife, and my wife said, I don't blame you, but honey, you wasn't making moves to come with me. But I'm glad that I showed up. I think it's very honorable that you are honoring the legacy of somebody who merits it, a revolutionary, a humble gentleman, and a revolutionary. Okay. The idea is not to mourn. I mean, we can mourn, but there's different kinds of mournings. Okay. Revolutionaries want to be mourned by you continuing the fight. You want to mourn me, then you continue the fight. Don't mourn me and start crying. Okay. If you're gonna mourn me like that, then do it now. Okay. I can think of reasons for you to start crying. Okay. The way to mourn is to continue the flow of history. That is revolutionary history. And it's in that vein that we should honor this revolutionary. All power to the people.
All power to the people.
All power to the people. All power.
All power.
Beautiful.
All right, everyone. Our next speaker is Chairman Jake Hansbury.
All power to the
Right
people.
on.
All power to the
Power.
people.
All power to the people.
So I was going to write up something to say because I felt, I felt that Tom deserved a written statement, but I do already have something written, so I figured I'd just go off the cuff with it. I really want to talk about Tom as a person, the kind of person that Tom was. I mean, so just for perspective, the influence that he had personally on me. I mean, Tom changed my life, and that's, it's really not an understatement. My entire worldview is shaped by the things that he wrote, and the way that he would write. It was so succinct and just, I don't know. I really don't know of any writer on the revolutionary left in American history that put some of the things that he would write about into such a holistic perspective. And he had that influence for decades, as the comrades before me said, 55 years of struggle, and he influenced a generation of people, I mean, literally thousands of people. That I really feel that he was able to touch their lives, change their way of looking at the world. Sorry. So, that's the kind of person that he was. That's his legacy. I mean, everybody standing in this room is, as Chimachaka said, is here because of him. And that's what 55 years of struggle will do. If you want to know what a legacy in the struggle looks like, you don't have to look any further than your right and your left side, especially, even in the Zoom room. So that's really the kind of person that he was. And, I want to tell a couple stories that he told me too as well. He told me a story one time where he had been organizing a like a rally for legalization in Washington, D.C. And the cops found out where the rally was going to be held. And so they fenced it in, and they were basically scanning the door. They had people checking IDs and, you know, all this stuff. And this was in the early 70s, late 60s. I'm not quite sure when, but so, you know, it was legal and all of that. Well, they had to because they were going to have to smoke it. So they had to figure out how they were going to get all the cannabis into this fenced in area, right? So they came up with the plan, and they made a paper mache joint, and they put all of the joints in the paper mache joint, and they just walked it right through, and the cops didn't even check it. And the next thing they know, they cut this thing open, and they're all getting high, right? And there's nothing they could do, right? So this is the kind of unorthodox even humor, you know, but really genius that Tom and his comrades had, you know, when they came into the movement. And you know, Tom was a part of the White Panther Party, the original White Panther Party. You know, he was poisoned.
That's right.
He was poisoned
Yeah.
for his organizing.
Yeah.
Somebody poisoned one of his drinks at a party, and he almost died. And these are the kinds of threats, the reality that people face when they just want to change the world. They just want to live in a society that isn't trying to destroy them in their community. And, you know, in a lot of ways, Tom, he embodied everything that people like John Brown stood for. You know, there was another time we were on a meeting, and you know, Tom told us this is another funny story. He was telling us about the efforts that Ho Chi Minh had to undertake in Vietnam when they were under the vicious imperialism of 13 different world powers. Ho Chi Minh was hiding in you know, in the countryside and in the towns, and he would dress up as a prostitute, and so you know, there would be troops on one street corner, and they wouldn't even know he's standing right next to him. And Tom proceeds to tell us that the U.S. also developed urine detecting technology to search the towns for Ho Chi Minh. And the way that he said it was just the funniest thing I had ever heard at a meeting. And he was being totally serious. And I looked into it. It's true. They actually did it. I'm not even joking. They had sensors. And it wasn't even in the towns. It was in the jungles. They put this everywhere. And the Vietnamese, they knew about this. They knew what this stuff was because the Soviets had cracked open some of these detectors and were looking through them. And they're like, oh, this is picks up urea. Like, this is just strange, right? So they told the Vietnamese, hey, like, you guys should definitely like sabotage these things. So they would do things like put large like pots full of urine underneath them to try to fool the detector. And then therefore the US aircraft would come and bomb a place in the jungle that had no troops there. You know. So he really wasn't lying when he said this. But these are the kinds of things that you learned from Tom. There are different aspects that just shaped the way you thought about the world. And, you know, the amount of writing that he did, the sheer volume of his works it's really staggering. And I encourage everybody here in the Zoom call, if, you know, after this, if you have the time, to go and read just at least one thing that he wrote. And, you know, if you need to know where to find it, I'm sure we can help you out. So, you know, that's the kind of person he was. He had a hand in Occupy Wall Street. he had a hand in helping some of our comrades organize demonstrations against their high schools. He had a hand in organizing the search for missing children who have been kidnapped, trying to get justice for them. You know, and the legalization of marijuana and all of that. And so there's so much that he contributed to the movement. It's you know, along with his writings and the really apropos analysis of the world. So before I give the speakership to the next person, I want to read a poem that I wrote. This is that thing that I had.
Roll call to people.
And I have to try to compose myself because I wrote this the day that he died.
Okay.
This is called A Shadow Upon Rebellion. When the rider of death appears upon the hill, and the great sealed doors of the soul open and still, time, like a wicked arrow, flies beyond a heart now ill. Thousands will mourn your words, and passing as an echo until the halls of power once erected have been rendered nil, and the historic mission of the suffering is fulfilled. For upon a wrench thrown into the wheelhouse of time, a vision was killed. And in the dark, damp corners of prisons, it was built. And for each and every prison bar, they were transformed into swords and grasped at the hilt. For every single prisoner, it was now the oppressors that were killed. Let every single person feel the gravity that you felt when the words were poured onto the pages from your tired quill. Let every single nation tremble at the crashing of an empire atop stilts. That is what you stood for. In your writings they have spoke. For onward we will carry them until a new world is forever built. So, in the memory of Tom Watts, and as Carlito and Chairman Shaka put it, you have to take the time to mourn, but that is not ultimately the goal. Tom would have wanted all of us to continue to struggle, because Tom, he really, really wanted to see the world that we are trying to build within his lifetime. And it is a fucking shame that that was not possible. And as we take the positives, we take the negatives, and it is unequivocally a loss to the world that this man died. So please take the time to mourn and recognize that he wants you to continue. He wanted you to continue, and we will, until we have a better world. Thank you.
Right on.
Right on.
All power, definitely.
All power to the people.
All power.
All power.
Well, I mean, that one. You can.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry about the error in the beginning. It's Mike Schlosser. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing, but I said something completely different. If you're on here and you'd still like to speak, can you let Sister Zen know, please, our Minister of Human Rights? And she will give you speaking privileges on this Zoom. Thank you.
Go ahead, Comrade Mike. You're unmuted.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
We hear you.
Loud and clear.
Um, I'm not nearly as eloquent as the prior speakers, uh, but but I want to talk about Tom and his early activism where we grew up in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I live in Oregon right now. I had a trip to the Allentown a couple of weeks ago. I was planning to meet with Tom, and then he passed away right before my visit. So uh, I'm glad that I could contribute to this meeting and talk about Tom today. When I talk about Tom, I first have to talk about Comrade Dave. Dave was a friend and comrade of mine. And in the late 60s, early 70s, in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, where we lived, we helped run a revolutionary newspaper called Civil Defense. We were very close to the Black Panther Party, and we sold the Black Panther Party newspaper in addition to our Civil Defense newspaper, and provided an organizing space for especially alienated youth and other folks that were followers or respected the Black Panther Party in a house that we ran in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Dave and I also attended the Black Panther Party Constitutional Convention in Washington, D.C. To implement the 10-point program as a remedy for the flawed U.S. Constitution. Well, we were just a small group in a small town, but we did not escape the attention of the repressive forces. And the prior speaker who spoke about COINTELPRO, I can tell you we know about COINTELPRO because they came and they infiltrated our organization and destroyed it in Allentown, Pennsylvania. This happened all over the country. As a result, Comrade Dave was set up by agents of the government and was arrested and found guilty and did hard time in federal prison. So the COINTELPRO program was effective. It destroyed our movement in the Lehigh Valley, and its effect has been long-lasting, even to today and into the future. And that's actually where I met Tom Watts. When Dave was on trial and in prison, Tom, and everyone who knew Tom can understand this very well. Tom jumped in and actually formed the defense committee for Comrade Dave. And of course, I worked with Tom on that effort. I don't know how successful we were, but we certainly tried our best. We became collaborators in several efforts, including we did prison visits and supported other prisoners. We opened a organizing bookstore called the Pennsylvania Revolutionary Rainbow Coalition Bookstore as a meeting place and a place for revolutionary literature. Tom was tireless. He never got tired. There was always something to do, always something important to achieve. We made visits to Ann Arbor, Michigan, which at the time was the headquarters of the White Panther Party. And we learned more about the White Panther Party. And I think that Tom thought that that was exactly the point that had to be made at that time. And that was the connection between white revolutionaries and black revolutionaries. And there was a connection. No matter what the government tried to do to split people apart based on race, that the solidarity with the Black Panther Party was the proper thing to do. And he followed that for his whole entire life. And I love him for that. We drifted apart over the years, but then I had heard that Tom's children were kidnapped. And well, Is that political? Well, yes, it's political, because one of the rationales that they used to kidnap his children is that he would never be a successful businessman. He would never be a millionaire. He would never have a successful career in US capitalism. Well, they were correct. And his children were kidnapped because of it. I played a small role in reuniting his children with him when I found them in Dallas, Texas. And that's actually one of the last times that Tom and I spoke in depth about the current situation and both his personal and political motivations, which actually are the same thing. When Tom's children were kidnapped, what did he do? He formed an organization to help find other families' kidnapped kids. That's the kind of person he was. If there was a problem, he would attack the problem with concrete actions. In the last few years, my main contact with Tom was via his Facebook page. It showed that although social media is not the best way to organize, it is existing, and he took advantage of it to the best ability that he could. I commented to him many times over the years that the service he was providing for younger comrades was admirable. He would take complex political issues, break them down into small, digestible bites, and publish them on his Facebook page. And I know from the reactions that he got from especially younger people around the world that they really appreciated it. When I first knew Tom, he would say quite often, the thing we have to understand is dialectical historical materialism. Dialectical historical materialism. And he was correct then, and he was correct through his entire career. So I want to say thank you to all the folks that are on this call who worked with Tom in later years. He was a revolutionary. He maintained his revolutionary spirit and activity until the last days of his life, and everyone will miss him. Thanks.
All power.
All power.
All power to the people.
All power. All power.
Rob, I'm not sure if anybody else is hopping up over there, but if so, I'll need you to unmute the computer.
Oh, we can't hear y'all.
Y'all have no
Y'all just have to
audio.
wait for. Yep.
Can they hear us?
It's showing the mic is unmuted now, but we don't have any audio.
That's so weird.
I think something's unplugged because I don't think they hear us either.
Yep.
Give me a second to message Kat.
Oh, I think they just realized. Oh, no, they didn't.
Can you guys hear us?
Now we can hear you guys, but y'all
Barely.
sound very low. Y'all sound very
Very,
low.
very quiet.
Ready? All power.
All power.
All power.
There you go.
I'm George. I've been a very good friend with Tom for years. There would be a lot to say. So really, it's just more or less my relationship with him, and basically where central things, because there's a lot to go with it, regardless, like of politics,
Hold
doing
on.
this.
They're saying they can't hear you now.
Oh, we can
Can
hear
they-
you.
No, we
now
can
hear
hear
you.
you now.
Louder,
It's just
scream?
No, they can hear us.
Sorry.
Yeah, there was
Oh,
no
okay,
audio
we
for
can
like
talk?
until
We're
they
good?
came
Oh,
on.
okay. Aside from that, going further, I met him earlier on in my years getting involved with the movement itself. Initially, when I got introduced to a lot of this leftist stuff, I was involved with DSA. I would always be a maverick, jumping around with different causes. I always like to get involved with different things, whether it be like, whether it be just anarchist, socialist, anything involved with labor, unionship, and so forth. I'll be in there. I was always into that sort of activity because I always considered leftists to be like one greater family altogether, rather than people just infighting, and look at where the right wing's at, all united and all that.
That's right.
But my initial involvement started off with the United Panther movement, working with Rise Up. Initially, I got involved with it because I had my lefty leans and views, and I would attend protests here and there. I was just getting started. I got involved with him, but we maintained a good relationship and friendship, because I was sort of like in the outskirts a little bit, but I didn't like really jump in until like a year later. I ended up having a girlfriend getting killed by an officer. So I wanted to like really like get involved with like Pantherism and so forth. And that's where like I kind of like progressed with it. I started with him, like working with him like at the infancy of this stuff. So this was like around 2009, 2010, 2011. Initially, where like even Facebook was just taking off, being able to like massively organize and all that. We're just doing groundwork, still even printing out little pamphlets, distributing little things around locally. But around 2012, that's when stuff started picking up, because cell phones started modernizing and like videotaping and so forth. So like we started getting on some more groundwork, and that's where I felt like the Panther work really started, kicking in regards of like filming police, holding people accountable. When we really started getting into the work, we started getting into like neighborhood stuff, solidarity rallies with Trayvon, and then unfortunately, it had to happen again in Allen, something like that had to happen in Allentown in the Lehigh Valley. We had Michael Randolph. He ended up getting killed by an officer in the Republican Club. We went back and forth with, like community doing protests around. And then eventually the one officer, ex-officer, was security guard, got charged, ended up going to jail. So it was a victory there. Tom was involved with that. And it's a lot, I'm just trying to get some stuff together too. What I'm trying to say is that it wasn't just basically just like the theories behind it. He would really actually be engaged within the community. And like, I actually appreciated that, like the actual like action, the materialism involved with it. And that's what I also appreciated out of him, because a lot of his thing, because we lived in the Lehigh Valley, was trying to do some groundwork. Like we would just randomly print out like pamphlets and then go out to the community. Like, we're going to distribute leaflets here, there, just present ourselves, show ourselves. Like, and a lot of stuff actually worked out, because, stuff goes around word of mouth. And then all of a sudden, even before like all this stuff with like Facebook, for support rallies and so forth, people come around in regards to that. So it would be nice, like police brutality, so forth. We organized many things. That was one victory right there. With Tom, another victory we had was with when we had something solidified, doing a Lehigh Valley cop block. His son ended up filming what's it called? An officer tasering another guy. And this is the Lehigh Valley again. Because it goes even, it's interesting. This is the Lehigh Valley again. But anyways, they ended up tasing him. Videos there. I see footage. I see same officer. We already linked up with another family. We're talking about work. Linked up with another family that had the same officer tase another girl in separate situations. She was a 14-year-old in a high school. This is stuff that we were involved with the community, so we knew stuff all together. So we were able to connect dot here, connect dot there, and with video footage and so forth, connected with one lawyer to another, and then boom, this guy goes to jail. They went lawsuits, so forth, and it's pretty interesting stuff. I took a break with Tom for a little bit because I did get paranoid a lot of the times, and then eventually, it's like a little bit of bitterness gets involved with it because you kind of put yourself out there, and then stuff does happen where you do get pulled over. All that FBI shit is real, but you just kind of have to have a hard cover and be smart, But in the end, all I could say is Tom Watts was a fighter, even to his end. I kept my friendship with him, even if I wasn't I'm a Panther at heart. I'm a communist and everything, and I feel that. Sometimes I know that the left want swing one way direction, and sometimes one agreement or another. It's all good, but I still stuck around with him because the dude was true. And towards the end, is the stuff that I'm seeing too. He's an elder comrade. He needed help, so even towards the end, I'll just be coming around once a month just to check up on him, so forth and so forth, taking him out shopping. And the dude, again, continued on, he typing, writing on video calls, conversations, chat rooms. He continued on, and he felt within his heart that, the UPM and what the New Africans, everything, it was it. And that's how he went down, till the very end. So again, what the last dude was talking about, again, it's he would tell us all, don't mourn, just continue fighting, in spirit, everything that he's, taught us, just move forward. That's it. All right, it up from there.
All power to the people. All power to the people. All power.
Good. All right, guys. So that was our guest surprise speaker, Comrade George. Now we're gonna have a recorded audio being played by Comrade Casey. And I think that, do you have the audio yet?
I mean, I'm still waiting on confirmation. I'll check. What do you mean? They pre-recorded it? Oh. I mean, it could be in spam right now.
All right, sorry, we're having a little trouble with getting the audio sent to us. It should be here in a second, though.
I just thought it was that confirmation for me.
All power.
All power.
Okay. We are going to get the audio sent and have Comrade Ellis speak first. Thank you.
Hi, y'all. So I was Tom's friend for 20-something years, and whenever I had a problem, I'd call him. So even in organizing this, I had the inclination to call him. But I want to talk a little about not just what he did, because everyone talked about that. What he did is going to reverberate, because he taught a lot of people the correct methodology on how to think. And he would tell me stories about how in the Red Book, when Lin Piao and Mao's enemies were like trying to build a cult of personality, they said something about Mao's the genius that comes along once in 1,000 years. And they put that in the Red Book, and that's a bunch of shit. Mao said, I'm a peasant from Hunan who learned how to think. And they took that out and put that in. And Tom taught a lot of people how to think dialectically, the correct way of going about knowledge. But more than that, we can talk about his political trappings all day. He had the correct political line all the time. But what Tom was an honorable person in his personal dealings, you know, and with those he loved. He took care of his children, he went to work, and did all his political stuff on top of that. And that's very lacking in the left, you know. So that's what I want to highlight about Tom. His just general personal giving nature. He would give his shirt off his back, as the cliche goes. But he would do anything for people he loved and people he cared about, to a fault. He would even take in people that he shouldn't have, you know. At the same time, you know, he went to work every day, he did his thing, and he had all that time still to do the writing he did. And he worked tirelessly until his death. He was calling me the day before his death, talking about revolutionary ideas. I'm sure he was calling all you guys too. But he also told me that when Mao died, the RCP had a revolutionary memorial service. I think it was in New York. And he said he could tell the people that were going to be out and the people that were later out that thought the revolution was all encompassed in Mao or his ideas. Those were the idealists. And those were the ones that were mourning and the most tearful because they thought the whole thing was up. And a lot of them went with the counter-revolutionaries in China because they couldn't sum up the loss in China, the fact that socialism was reversed. They took the idealist position that Deng was some sort of friend of the working class. And we see the results of that. But he said the people that were really steadfast and the people that would stay and work their whole lives towards the revolution, you know, knew it was a loss, but they knew that the revolution wasn't encompassed in Mao, just like the revolution is not encompassed in Tom. The revolution is encompassed in the conduct and the inner contradictions of the revolutionary people. There's not a force in the world outside of our proletarian organizing, you know, that can stop us. The only thing that can stop us is our own internal contradictions. That's something that takes a lot. To be a communist is probably one of the hardest things in the world, because you got to be a person too, you know. But to be a communist, you got to be the best of the people, you know. And that's a hard thing to come by in this country. And it's a hard task ahead. But once again, it's in our internal contradictions. There's not outside forces that can stop it. So in terms of Tom being gone, it's hard not to be able to call him, ask him how to sum these things up, you know. But I'm confident in all you guys, and just who's here, who's on the live stream, all the people that have reached out, not just communists, but just people that knew he was a good person, and that's another thing. People that aren't necessarily communists or don't have the time for the politics, just regular working class people, right? They were sympathetic to Tom's politics. They wouldn't oppose them because they knew he was a good man. And they knew, well, he does all these other things. He must be right about this, even if they didn't have too much time to look into it. And I think that's something that we all should strive for, is to be the best to the people in our lives, our loved ones, as well as have the correct political line, correct political position, to take care of each other in very concrete ways, you know, not just helping each other learn, not just helping each other dissect the capitalist system and figure out how to best attack it. But that's important. But also figuring out how we can survive pending revolution, and even more so survive hastening revolution, right? So that's just what I'd like to say. I mean, I love the man. Many people love the man. It's a shame he ain't here, but he lived a red life through and through.
All power to the people. Right on, right on.
All power to the people.
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 All right, guys, we have an audio recording from Comrade Casey that we're going to play. He's in prison, so that's why it's an audio recording. Can't make it on the Zoom, just so everyone knows. All power to the people. That will be the ending of our memorial service. Thank you for joining us. All power to the people and Panther love. Because
All power to the people and Panther love.
to the people, Panther love.
All power to the people and Panther love.
Solidarity forever.
Damn right.
All power to the people.
Rob, I don't know if you've started
Order
playing.
now, comrade.
There's no audio coming through.
I'm Master Lieutenant Casey. I'm doing this eulogy to commemorate Comrade Tom Watts. As it is.
Recording now, comrade.
Panther love. I'm Master Lieutenant Casey. I'm doing this eulogy to commemorate Comrade Tom Watts. As it is, I have a heavy heart. Hearing about his demise, nonetheless, his contribution to the New African Black Panther Party, the Rainbow Coalition, and the WPO is immeasurable. I would like to have, in retrospect, give everyone a summation of the magnitude of his contribution to this organization. Most of y'all don't know when this organization started in prison. Me, Shaka, Rashid was all in prison. It was Tom that traveled throughout Pennsylvania, back to Jersey, to make sure that this organization was developed. After it was developed, he took and added his resources, his time and energy to print, publish, edit, and pay for the right-on newsletter that was passed out throughout the prison system throughout United States. This went on for years and years and years to make members aware of the New African Black Panther Party as well as the WPO. And Comrade Tom did this without any complaints, any type of regrets or anything. He understood the bigger picture of his contribution was to bring awareness to the essence of the New African Black Panther Party as well as class struggle. And he was the one that helped molded me in my political studies on how to look past superficial things and focus on the bigger picture of the New African Black Panther Party's ideology. So I would like to take this opportunity to express my condolences and send my regards and appreciation and gratitude for a fallen comrade who did immeasurable work to develop his organization, and the work that he's done would not be done in vain. I assure him, as well as everybody else, we will continue to carry on what he have started and what he have orchestrated. So I would like to say, Panther love to you, Comrade Tom. You would not be forgotten, even though you're gone. Panther love, National Champion KC.
All power.
All power, Panther love.
Panther love.
Panther love.
All power.